In its heyday, the Russian Empire was one of the biggest countries in the world. The Russian Empire rose gradually by strengthening its state and accumulating new lands, mainly through its eastward expansion across Eurasia toward the Pacific Ocean. This expansion began in the mid-16th century. However, the term Russian Empire was not used until 1721. Russia has been widely recognized as an energy superpower with the largest natural gas reserves, second largest coal reserves, eighth largest oil reserves, and Europe's largest oil shale reserves. Recently, the U.S. News and World Report published the 2023 Global Power Rankings, which revealed that the United States, China, and Russia have maintained their positions as the world's most dominant and powerful nations. Russia's imperial past has significantly shaped its modern identity and historical experience. The empire was founded in the early modern era and has a significant impact today. Russia's ascent to global power status began in the late medieval era, under the leadership of Ivan the Terrible and Peter the Great. This period saw significant changes in the country, such as the expansion of the Russian Empire and strategic positioning that laid the foundation for future influence. The Russian Empire, also known as Imperial Russia or simply Russia, was the final period of the Russian monarchy, which began on November 1721 and ended in March 1917. It covered most of northern Eurasia and replaced the Tsardom of Russia after the Treaty of Nystadt. The rise of the Russian Empire coincided with the decline of neighboring rival powers, such as the Swedish Empire, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, Qajar, Iran, the Ottoman Empire, and Qing China. The empire also established colonies in Russian America between 1799 and 1867. The Russian Empire was one of the largest empires in history, covering an area of approximately 22.8 square miles, surpassed only by the British Empire and the Mongol Empire. According to the 1897 Russian censuses, the only census conducted during the entire imperial period, the empire ruled over 25.6 million people. The empire had vast ethnic, linguistic, religious, and economic diversity. The rulers of Moscow were the founders of the Russian Empire. Moscow was initially a tiny principality formed in the last decades of the 13th century. These rulers were descendants of Rurik, a semi-mythical Viking chieftain who had ruled the area around Kiev at the end of the 9th century. To some extent, these Vikings were river-born, nomadic warbands. Over more than 4 centuries, the Rurik dynasty expanded its control over a significant area, including present-day European Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. As the dynasty distributed its territories among its heirs, a complicated network of mainly small principalities emerged in the region by 1200. At the time, the most influential Rurikid leader was the Grand Prince of Vladimir, who ruled over the northeastern territories known as Great Russia, eventually becoming the core of the Muscovite and later the Russian state. The first period of immigration into the Russian Empire saw gypsies move from the south into Ukraine and from the east into Belarus and the Baltic countries in the 15th and 16th centuries. Today, these early immigrants are known as the Exaladitka or Ruska Roma, the closely related Polska Roma, also called Exaladitka Roma in Lithuania, and, nowadays, Poland and Litovska Roma in Lithuania and Belarus. The Latvika, Latvian, and Roma in the Baltic area are also related to them. For instance, the Servi or Serveria settled in eastern Ukraine and southern Russia in the mid-16th century after migrating from Wallachia and Moldavia. During the 16th to 18th century, the presence of the Roma has left traces in documents from the Ukrainian Slobozhanshchina, territories on the left bank of the Dnieper, and the autonomous Zaporozhskaya Sek of the so-called Zaporozhian Cossacks. In 1654, Ukraine joined the Russian Empire voluntarily while maintaining certain internal autonomy. The Roma people, commonly called gypsies, were included in separate tax registers and divided into regiments led by their atamans or chieftains. The Roma themselves nominated these leaders before being appointed. It is important to note that the Roma in Ukraine did not actively serve in the army. Peter I, also known as Peter the Great, played a significant role in introducing the European state system into the Russian Empire. Despite having a population of 14 million, the empire lagged behind the West regarding grain yields. By the end of the 17th century, the Russians had reached the Pacific Ocean and reached a stable agreement with the Qing Empire. This contributed to the rapid decline of Mongol military nomadism. However, it was not until Japan emerged in the late 19th century that Russia faced a significant military threat to its Asian territories. In essence, Russia filled the geopolitical void created by the collapse of the Mongol Empire. Comparisons with the Ottoman experience are insightful. When the Chinggisid Ilkhanate broke up in Iran, it was eventually replaced by the Safavid dynasty, which quickly became a formidable adversary on the Ottomans' eastern border. In 1711, the Ottomans came close to destroying Peter the Great and his army, forcing the Tsar to make a humiliating peace. Even later, in the 18th century, it took enormous military and logistical efforts to secure Russia's hold on the northern shore of the Black Sea, making the economic development of southern Russia and Ukraine possible. By the late 1800s, Russia was the largest country in the world, stretching from the Black Sea in Europe to the Bering Straits in the extreme east of Asia. It would take at least 10 days to travel by train from one end to another, and this sheer size made it a complex country to govern. This vast, diverse empire was ruled by a series of Tsars who governed as autocrats. This meant that the Tsar, and only the Tsar, governed Russia, believing that they had a divine right to rule the country as their position and power had been given to them by God. In 1894, Tsar Nicholas I was the ruler of Russia. Along with his German-born wife, Alexandra, he firmly believed in the autocracy. The economic conditions of Russia had been improving steadily since 1890, thanks to new crops like sugar beets and new access to railway transportation. Total grain production and exports increased despite rising domestic demand from population growth. However, Nicholas II was a weak individual who found the daily work of a ruler tedious. He also found it difficult to deliver bad news to people, preferring to write them letters instead. The Great War proved to be the downfall of many European empires. Russia joined the First World War, followed by France, both fearing the rise of Germany as the new power. By August 1914, Russia had invaded the German province of East Prussia with unexpected speed, only to end up suffering a humiliating defeat at Tannenberg due to a message sent without proper coding, destroying the entire Second Army. Russia suffered another massive defeat at the Masurian Lakes, resulting in 100,000 casualties. For centuries, the Russian Empire, a conservative stronghold in the East, was the first to fall during the First World War. The rapid expansion of Russian power before the war had been so alarming to German military planners that they urged their political leadership to find a reason to go to war with the Romanovs as soon as possible. The 1917 revolution during the First World War led to the collapse of the Russian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The echoes of power, whispers of change, and tumultuous end of such colossal empires make for a riveting journey through history. Remember to subscribe for more exciting and informative videos. Thank you.